For all my landscaping friends out there, so landscapers, pesticides, roofers, snowplowers, not quite this time of the year though. If you do anything outside of someone's house or property, you need project quoting. It is such a powerful system. It's easy. You can remotely let them price out a property for themselves, and it makes the process smooth. It links directly to QuickBooks, and it does literally like hundreds of other things that I can't even get into in like a 15-second video. Check it out. 14-day free trial. There's no reason not to try. Hello everyone, welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we're here with Walter Wise of BPI Strategy Group. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's learn a little bit about you and where it all started.
Hi, I spent 23 years in the military and retired in 1995. Worked for 3 or 4 small businesses as a business development executive, vice president, senior vice president, helping them sell their products and services to the government. And then I was let go by a small company. They brought me in, but it was really too late to help them.
Yeah.
And so after 6 months, they just went away. And so I was left trying to find a job, and I sent resume after resume, and I assumed I was too old, too ugly, or too expensive to find a job. So I started my own business. I started it called Wise Business Development, which was a company focused on helping companies sell to the government. And then that was 2006. And in 2007, I started the BPI Strategy Group, which is more of a marketing strategy, business coaching company. And I folded the business development piece into that. So that's one of the services we offer, along with marketing strategy, business coaching, is teaching companies, small businesses that aren't successful, teaching them how to be successful in the federal space.
Yeah. Cool. I was going to say, because that's a big area. Because when you deal with traditional entrepreneurship, it's pretty easy because you're just dealing with the normal market. Mm-hmm. But then you add the government into it, and that's a whole nother crazy ballpark.
When you look at the federal space, in the small business space, roughly 5% of the companies are doing 70 to 75% of the work. And about half the companies that try have absolutely nothing. And the reason is they don't understand it, they don't have a strategy, and they don't have a plan. I talked with a lady a couple of weeks ago. Some company talked her into getting a GSA schedule, told her that was going to be the greatest thing for her since sliced bread. She paid $12,000 to get that schedule, which is an awful lot of money to do that because you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then 2 years after she got it, she finds out she hasn't sold anything on it, so she's going to lose it, which is the rule.
Yeah.
You get a GSA schedule. In the first 2 years, you need to sell $25,000 worth of products or services, and then $25,000 a year after that. She didn't make the first threshold, so that $12,000 she paid for the schedule is out the window because she's going to lose it.
Yeah. So what is a GSA schedule?
It's a general services schedule. It's some agencies prefer to buy. Using that schedule, it's a pre-negotiated contract with the government, and you put your products or services, your labor rates or your costs in there. It's all pre-negotiated. So an agency can go to you if they want to buy directly. They get 3 GSA bids, and they can pick the one they want. And there's IT. There's a lot of technology products are bought on the GSA schedule. There are furniture, office equipment. There's one called Mobus, which is a business services contract. I don't know exactly how many schedules there are, but there are quite a few, and they keep adding to it every day. And when you look at the numbers, I look at the IT schedule a lot because I came out of the IT world, so that's kind of where I try to stay sometimes in the government space. But about half the companies that have a GSA schedule do nothing. Just because, as I said earlier, they don't understand how to do it and what they need to do. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be out there talking to people. You can't wait for your phone to ring.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to get known. When you look at government, it takes probably 12 to 24 months to get that first contract. The reason being, government buys from people they know and trust. So if you're the brand new kid on the block coming in, oh, hey, I got the greatest widget in the world, they don't know you from a bar of soap.
Yeah.
So they've got to get to know you, and they got to build up that knowledge and trust.
Yeah.
And, you know, the best way to do it is become a subcontractor to somebody. But still, that's going to take a while, too. Because if nobody knows you, you don't have any background, any past performance with them or the government, either one.
Yeah.
You know, it's really tough. You know, and there's some tricks we can do. American Express Open did a study a couple of years ago with small businesses and found out it took on average 19 and a half months to get the first contract.
Yeah.
And then it cost, companies spent somewhere around $250,000 to $275,000. And that's not just on consultants, but that's on internal money too. Because if you're writing proposals, like a lot of companies will go to the proposal site, FedBizOps, where all procurements over $25,000 have to be posted. They'll go find 2 or 3 of those and write a proposal and throw it over the fence. But if you do that, you got like a 10% chance to win. So they will waste time and money writing these proposals. And that kind of money's factored in, you know, management time, travel time to go talk to people, you know, all that stuff. So it's expensive, and it's not an easy go. The training program we have will save you, we think, about a year off that time, and probably somewhere around $100,000
Wow.
in costs, because we get right down to it. We do a competitive analysis, and we look at where your competitors are selling, and who they're selling to, what they're selling for, what contract vehicles they use.
Yeah.
Because not all agencies prefer to contract the same way. As I mentioned earlier, there's a GSA schedule. Some agencies like to use that, but a lot of them are members of the not invented here. If they haven't written and invented that contract, they're not going to use it. So they want to use their own vehicles. So, you know, you need to know that. So if you go into an agency and you're marketing a GSA IT schedule, for instance, and they don't use it, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
You know, it's a waste of time. So, you know, we look at all that, and we help the company pick the best 3 agencies to go after. A lot of companies will come in and they'll go after everything.
Yeah.
You know, I see it all the time, because in your federal registrations, you have to be registered on a thing called sam.gov. So I look at it, and I was looking at a company the other day. He had been in business a year, and he had 52 different NAICS codes listed. NAICS codes being specialty codes of what they do.
Okay.
He had everything from cattle ranching to a beauty shop to an IT to environment. He had everything.
Oh, wow.
And he had 5 employees. So, you know, he was not a credible company.
Yeah.
So we help them get around that, and we build that package of where they need to go. Then we teach them how to do it, how to sell, you know, the nuances of selling to government, because it's different. When you sell in business to business, it's a lot different than selling to the government. Government is more listening and not selling. You're not there to buy to sell your stuff. You're there to listen to what they need, and you take that and you translate that when you write a proposal. You need all that kind of information.
Yeah.
And then we come back at the end of and this is a 1-month program, and then we come back at the end of that month and we give them a list of those 3 agencies we pick. We show them a list of opportunities that they can look at. We give them names and phone numbers to contact, and then we go in and tell them, okay, this is how you do this kind of stuff. This is how you find this information. This is where it's at. This is how you find what your competitors are selling. We teach them all that too, so they can go do it. And if they want continuing help, yeah, I'm there. You know, after the program's over to help them, and we usually come in and we'll build we'll get their website right. We'll make their website government friendly.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things you need there. We help them with what's called a capability statement, which is the only document you need. I mean, if you walk in with flowery brochures, they're going to go into the circular file.
Yeah.
But you want that capability statement. That's the one page, and that's what you talk about. That's all you need. And then the next step from that, if you have another meeting, you do what's called a capability presentation, and we build that. It's like a 10-slide pitch. So
Okay. So I'm taking it, capability statement is literally just a statement of what your company can do.
Basically what you do. Yeah, it's your core capabilities, past performance in the area that you're talking about, and then the things that differentiate you from your competition. And those differentiators are not that you take care of your customers, or you partner with a customer, or you've been in business since 1431 BC. Mm-hmm. That's not a differentiator, because anybody and everybody can say that.
Yeah.
What you're looking for is something that's unique to you and your company.
Yeah.
That sets you apart from everybody else.
Yeah. Some almost like a hard claim, like something you can actually prove.
Yeah. It's got to be provable.
Yeah.
Like a lot of companies will come out. I've seen these small companies say, "Oh, we're the market leader or the global leader," and their name is not IBM, CSC, or General Dynamics.
Yeah. It's a hard claim to make when you don't have billions of dollars behind you.
Or you're 10 people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah. Oh, that's too funny. So. I can only imagine, because you kind of mentioned it earlier, when you're dealing in the government space, it's a lot of who you know, the kind of who you can pull those contracts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's relationship driven.
Yeah.
And there's not just one person you have to talk to. A lot of companies go right to to the person they call a contract officer. Mm-hmm. Well, the contract officer is your best friend once you win, but they don't control requirements. They don't really control the dollars. The people you need to see are the people over here who have the need, who have a problem that they don't want, and you have the solution that they want but don't have.
Yeah.
So you've got to talk to them. You got to understand what they mean. Then you got to go in and you got to find out the project manager or the program manager, because that's the person that has the money. So you really need to know how much money they got. So you got to know how to write that proposal and structure your pricing. Most companies do pricing and just grab a number out of the air. You got to base it on something.
Yeah.
And then you also need to talk to agency heads and people like that. And those are the easiest to get to, because a lot of them are political and they'll talk to you. Yeah. But as you get further down, the PMs are really tough. Users, if you get lucky, you can get them fairly easily, and they'll talk to you. And then the contract officers are supposed to talk to you, but a lot of times they're overworked and underloved, and they just don't have time.
Yeah. So like everywhere else in the government.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. So I think we've talked quite a bit about the government side of it. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, hold on. I'm going to take a quick break for the sponsors, and everyone, hold it back. The New Hampshire Business Show is one of the largest and fastest growing podcasts in New Hampshire. There's no one else in the business sector that does what I do, and does it quite as often. With 7 episodes a week, it's a fantastic way to get in front of clients and other businesses you want to do business with. So if you would like to sponsor the New Hampshire Business Show, check it out in the sponsor section below under the sponsors link, and we'll get going. A lot of people think sales is boring, but once you get into it, you realize just how much fun it can be. And just like any game, the more you practice and the more you're ready, the more fun it is, right? So increase your chances of closing deals, increase your chances of earning more money. Head in the description below, find the link to Lemoore Training for the Gold Mine Sales Series. You get 25% off for using the code NHBS25. Check it out. It's an amazing program, like as I've said a few times before, overcoming objections, creating a value proposition, really addressing what your clients are actually looking for in the sales process. And these are things that just benefit you in the long run to help you make more money. So if that sounds good to you, which it should, as an entrepreneur, check them out. Hold it back, that doesn't make any sense. All right, cool. So let's get to the other side of it. We've talked government. I'm sure you talk government all the time. It seems to be your specialty. So let's get into the other side of it, like the marketing and some of the other stuff you do for businesses.
Okay, yeah. In the marketing side, I find most small business owners that I talk to are really good at what they do. Mm-hmm. They really understand the product or service that they offer. But when it comes to some of the other things that they do, like marketing or financial management or HR, hiring, firing, they're not so good at it. So what I try to do is come in from a marketing standpoint and help them with their marketing, from a business coach, help them with the business side of things to get things moving.
Yeah.
And give them a plan and a strategy and some things to do. What I find is a lot of small business owners, they're inundated with marketing guys. They're always bugging them about something, especially chiropractors and dentists seem to be two big ones that get nailed with marketing stuff. And they all get hit with some bright and shiny object, the latest bright and shiny marketing tool or technique or whatever. Those don't always work. I find when I go into a company, one of the things I'll do is we'll sit down and talk and say, okay, what's working now? Or what has worked for you in the past? What has helped you bring people in the door or generate leads?
Yeah.
And they'll tell me, and I say, well, why did you stop doing it? And they don't know. They just did. They saw some bright and shiny object they wanted to go try. Yeah. Some new tool or new approach or new something. There's always new stuff out there. And they just ignore that thing that worked in the past. So what I do is I like to come in there and refine that thing that worked and get it working again so they start generating more revenue. And then we can go fix some of the other problems that they have in the marketing space. The majority of them go use what I call tactical marketing, and they do that right away. They'll send a few emails, or they'll put some flyers out, or Valpak ads or ads in the newspaper, even Yellow Pages. People are still putting ads in the Yellow Pages. But when was the last time you picked up a Yellow Pages to look up a phone number?
I don't know, decades.
Yeah, decades. I tell them if they're still doing Yellow Pages, I said, that might work if your target market is 73 years old or older.
Yeah.
If it's not, forget it. But they still do that. So what I do is I help them focus on the strategy, the strategy aspect of marketing first. Define who it is they really want to target. Who is their market? Mm-hmm. Age. Is it moms with families with 2 or 3 kids? Is it single moms? Is it older, 55 and older? What is that target? Who are you going after? CEOs of companies or whatever it is you're going after. We define that and look at that. And then we define what the ideal client is going to look like. What's the problem they have that they don't want? And what's the solution they want and they don't have? So, and that's where you go. You work from that. And you move your marketing and everything around that. And then you have to figure out where they hang out, where they are online. Because today, online is king.
Yeah.
If you're not online somewhere, you're losing the ball. Your phone's not ringing. Social media is great. Facebook pages, groups are really good. At least a Facebook page for a business is almost required. Same with LinkedIn. If you're a professional services company, you need a presence on LinkedIn, and it needs to look professional. But you need to go where your market is and have a message targeted to them. So if you're familiar with Google, if you need a plumber, you look for emergency plumber, Merrimack, New Hampshire. And there's going to be some couple, 2 or 3 plumbers will show up that are running ads. And then there's going to be what's called the Google 3 box.
Yeah.
A little map with 3 plumbers there. if you're not in that 3 box, and even if you're not even on the first page, and you don't have a number of reviews there, 4 and 5 star reviews. So you're in a 3 box, and the first guy has no reviews. The second guy has 15 4 and 5 star reviews, and you're down there. You're number 3, and you have 5 reviews. Who do you think's gonna get the call?
The one who's got a lot of
reviews. Exactly. So, and companies have a hard time understanding that. But they've got to get those reviews, and they've got to show up on Google. They've got to show up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes the phone ring. There was a study came out not long ago that was looking at millennials from ages, I think it was 25 to 37. I don't know if that's the millennial age group or not, but this is what they were looking at. Ages 25 to 37. 98% of them use Google to find a product or service. And they will believe the Google review before they believe anything else. That's an interesting stat.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because I'm 30 and I'm the same
You're in
way.
that group,
if I need something, I pop on Google and take a look at it. You know, it's probably the first place.
Yeah. And a lot of people trust Google reviews more than they trust a referral from a friend or a family member, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So you have to be there, and companies aren't understanding that.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have your online information. The other thing I see is a lot of companies have their information scattered, and it's not correct. Even in my company, I found out that I was using BPI Strategy, BPI Strategy Group, and the BPI Strategy Group. So when I did a search, I would come up at 3 or 4 different places with a slightly different name.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
And a couple of them even had me in my old address in Nashua before I moved to Merrimack. I don't know why it was there, but I hadn't been in Nashua for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I had to go in, and I have a service, and I sell the service that goes in and fixes all of that for you. There's like 300 and some odd different places on the internet that has information about you and your business.
Wow, that's pretty
308, I think it is.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're going to sit there and go find everyone.
That would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. There are 4 places that are aggregators, kind of like tax filers or credit report companies. Look at 3 major credit report companies. There's these 4 major sites that have the information about you, and then they spider it out. So that's the one place we go is to correct information, is go into those and correct them. And then we have a list of 60 others that are the most popular places with information about a company.
Yeah.
And we fix that. And then it takes about a year, and it'll all filter through.
Wow. That's actually really good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because everyone's always talking about holistic medicine, but they don't look at holistic marketing, I guess, if you want to call it. So, you need these things to be fluent in the market. Like you said, reviews on Google are huge for your SEO.
Exactly.
But at the same time, going over to Facebook and your reviews over there are important too. So there's a lot going on. That's it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a service that we have that we can take Google reviews and Facebook reviews and make sure they show up in both places.
That's pretty good.
That's kind of neat.
That would be super helpful.
Yeah. So it's hard to say which one's better. If it just depends on where your target is. If your target market's hanging out on Facebook, you want to make sure those reviews are on Facebook.
Yeah.
I know a lot of dentists and a lot of chiropractors. That's kind of where they need to be marketing is really looking at Facebook, because that's where people are going to look. One place they're going to look, but they also need to be on Google.
Yeah. Yeah, because personally, from what I've seen, I'll go to Google, find a place, and if it sounds okay, I'll check out their Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then if it's engaging and decent, I'll give them a try.
It has the same information.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll find Facebook has one set of information and Google will have another.
Yeah. Or on one, it sounds great, and you go to the other one, and I'm like, well, these guys have nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Or
they have a wrong phone number.
Yeah.
2 different phone numbers.
Yeah.
2 different addresses.
Yeah, and get confusing, and then you're like, okay, I guess I'm not using that company.
Exactly.
Or someone else, Yeah. That's pretty good. So, what do you think most businesses are missing out on? Like, what's the one thing they're doing wrong typically when it comes to this?
I think the one thing that they're doing wrong is they're going tactical before they don't have a plan or a strategy when they market, especially in marketing. They just don't have a plan or a strategy, and they're just shotgunning things out there. And that's the same in the federal space and the B2B space. They're just shotgunning things, doing things. The bright and shiny object I mentioned before, they see this thing, so they go off and do it. And they don't know why, and then all of a sudden they lose interest, and there's another one over here, and they go get that one and go do that. But they never come back to the core, to that thing that worked for them last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And gone back to that and try to reinstitute that and to bring that back, because that did work, and it will probably work today with some tweaking. The same thing probably won't work, but tweak it a little bit, and it probably will, or at least it'll get you going in the right direction, so you can go do other things to enhance it.
Yeah, cool. So before we head out, is there anything else, like other big tips you wanted to pass on? To
Well,
people?
basically, as I said earlier, you got to have a strategy. Online is king, and you need to go strategic before you go tactical. You need to understand that target market.
Yeah.
And then before you just start sending stuff
Yeah.
out.
And I think understanding your actual target market is huge. And I had one guest tell me that she disagreed with me on this one, but I get asked every once in a while, or I ask people like, which target market? Like, everybody. No. That's not quite how it works. Yes, in her particular case, yes, everyone sleeps, but there's a particular type of person that wants to buy your sleep product. And yes, so you really got to know who is actually going to buy your product, because your pillow is different than another pillow. So who would buy the organic one over the normal one? So yeah, this is my little thing.
Look at dentists.
Yeah.
Who normally makes the decision? It's not the husband. It's normally the mom or the wife, because they're interested in their children. So that's your target market for a dentist, or some dentists anyway.
Yeah.
You want to target the mom or the wife, because they're the ones that are concerned about their children's health, their children's teeth. Same idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just being very aware of what's actually driving these factors, and realizing there's a lot to it. I think if you even go into Facebook and play around on the back end and the ad manager, there's a lot of categories in there that you're like, oh, I never even thought about that. Like, I was dealing with a car dealership the other day, and we put out one that we were just looking at everything, and like, because they were just trying to buy cars. So I'm like, oh, so you can funnel it by, they bought cars 48 months ago, at least 48 months ago, so they have a bunch of equity in the vehicle. So there's a whole lot going on the backside that you didn't even think about when you're putting your target market together. But you need to know those things too.
And a lot of companies never follow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at car dealers. Look at used car dealers. 10 people walk in the lot today. Do they get name, phone number, email address to follow up?
Typically not. No.
Most of the time they don't. Most of the sales guys are lazy. They may make 1 or 2 calls. It's going to take more than that. Studies have shown 80% of sales are made after the 5th call.
Yeah.
Most sales guys make 2 calls.
That's good advice.
You got to follow up, and you got to keep after it.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling you guys all the time. So awesome. So people that want to reach out, learn more, get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Okay, Walter Wise at the BPI Strategy Group. We're in Merrimack on Greeley Street. My phone number is 603-262-1489. And my email address is wpwise, that's WPWISE, at bpistrategy.com.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm glad to finally get to sit down and chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to roll out with the last word from our sponsors, and everyone have a great day. If you need a new website, check out the description below. Find the sponsor link for Zim Ventures, and ask Rob how he can help you out, because he does a fantastic job, and it might be just exactly what you need. That's it for today, everyone, but it doesn't have to end there. Head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or iHeartRadio to get more from New Hampshire's top entrepreneurs.